SWC season is almost over, which means we're probably going to see a fairly substantial balance patch and hopefully a nice update that has some quality of life improvements and other things, which I feel is sorely needed because I feel the morale for Summoner's War is very low right now. We could take a look at the Google Trends. I like to take a look at this every so often. We have Summoner's War Sky Arena mobile game, worldwide data. This is not just the United States. This is worldwide data. This is where we are. It looks not great. Just remember, so it's not Summoner's War is not dying. It's just that player base has been decreasing and decreasing. That's any mobile game. It's not that this is Summoner's War is the only one that this ever happens to. It's actually surprising that Summoner's War has lasted so long. But remember that the whales are still spending, right? The servers are not going to close anytime soon. I don't want people to start freaking out or whatever, but we are at a fairly low point in player base. So I think that, well, actually, I know that anytime that there is a big update, people come back, right? We get collabs, people come back. There's an 8th anniversary, 7th anniversary, 6th anniversary. Like these bumps are, well, one of these is COVID. I think this is the COVID bump right here. And then there's the 8th anniversary bump over here. There's the Cookie Run Kingdom collab. So anytime we have these big events, which hopefully we see soon, player base, a lot of people that stop playing, come back at least for a short period of time, maybe sometimes even longer. But yeah, morale is pretty low. Hopefully whatever they have planned, I don't know exactly what they have planned, but hopefully whatever they have planned is going to be good for morale. We did this earlier in the year. I think we did this in June. Is that when we did this? Summoner's War end of 2022 timeline estimate. So let's see how much was actually correct and let's see how much was wrong. So of course the green stuff we already knew. That was already set in stone. SWC Finals. They had just released the date for SWC Finals like the day of or the day after I posted the video on this. So it is, well, we already know when it is. Balance patch, this happened. New collab units, this happened. Balance patch over here also happened. We also speculated that the balance patch next to an update was going to be the end of November, so that is where we are right now. Hopefully we get some, I feel like we're going to get some nice stuff now, so I'm not too concerned about the player base dwindling. I think that we're going to see some players that left come back, even if it's just temporary. So I wanted to go over the most needed buffs and nerfs. We went over them a couple months ago from balance patches, right? Right before the last balance patch. But I just wanted to recap on a few that I think are the ones that I would look for, hopefully, in this next balance patch. So the Archangels, this is based on your votes from the balance patch poll. We can see anything that has blue, a lot of blue, means it probably needs a buff. Anything that's red is mostly fine. Anything orange it needs a nerf. So a lot of these things here, a lot of the Archangels are more than 50% blue. Artemiel and Ariel kind of in a good spot, so I don't really think that they really need too much. But you could make an argument that all the Archangels in general could get a buff on their skill 1 and skill 2s, and nothing's going to be super broken OP. So mostly Veligil, Firmarion, Eladriel, as you can see from the balance patch data. Buffing skill 1 and 2 could be enough without touching any skill 3 aside from Eladriel. Eladriel could have a damage mitigation passive while on cooldown, similar to the Light Pioneer. And then also we have Valkyrias. This is another one that I wanted to touch on. I'm not saying that these that we're going to talk about today are the only things that need to get buffed, because I do think that a couple other ones need to get buffed, but we've talked about them in previous balance patch things. I just think I wanted to touch on some of the monster families, like things that like everything in the entire family could get buffed, and it wouldn't be like game breaking, right? So Valkyrias, this is Trinity. A lot of people think this needs to be buffed. Camilla is, I think, the #1 most requested buff. And then Vanessa is mostly fine. Katarina is mostly fine, although 46% of people think Katarina needs a buff. I think Katarina is good. I use Katarina, so Achroma, more people think it's fine than anything else. We really should just glance over this. Another one where the whole family can get a minor skill 1 and 2 buff, and then Trinity skill, because the skill 2 is not anything crazy for these Valkyrias compared to some of the other units in the game. Trinity skill 3 buff and Camilla passive buff on top of those family-wide buffs. Like, for example, you take Vanessa's skill 2 single target defense break versus Nana's skill 2 AoE defense break. One of them is stronger than the other one. So I don't think there's really too much of an argument there. Third one is Phoenixes. Not too many people calling for all the Phoenixes to get buffed, but I do believe If we take a look, Perna is Eludia. Actually, people are pretty happy about Eludia. I was surprised to see this many people think that it's mostly fine. Some people I've heard complain about Eludia still, but Perna is the one that people are the most happy with, right? No one's like, oh my good. Well, some people apparently think Perna needs a buff, but I think they're maybe a little bit crazy. I'm just saying, because Perna's a great unit, right? Perna's always been considered a very good unit. So my thoughts, and I don't know when we figured this out. I think it was a while ago, but just if the Phoenixes all revived, right? Because there was a lot of people that thought Sigmaris needed a buff. There was a lot of people that thought Jar needed a buff. Really, I'm surprised that not more people voted on Teshar buffs. But yeah, if the Phoenixes just revived, I think that would make sense. Let's go on to the next one, the cookie units. These ones were the ones from the poll that had high votes. There are also 4 stars, which are kind of duds. But some of the 5-star ones are pretty good, especially like the LDs. But, well, some of the LDs are not that crazy, but we won't get into that. These are just the ones that had the high votes for people thinking that they need to get buffed. And I agree. I would have voted for... I didn't vote on the poll, I don't think. But I would have voted for these units to get buffed as well. Then we have... These are just the other ones that were notable mentions. Christina, of course. I know Christine... People always complain. They're like, oh, you can use Christina in this one team. I'm like... In this one team, in one spot for a Nat 5. I feel like Christina needs a little bit, like at least a damage mitigation to make her tankier or something, right? So it's like, it's hard to make an argument that just because she's good in one spot means that she doesn't need anything. There's enough people, 83.3% of the people polled thought that she needed a buff. Kashmir, who's still, I mean, they just buffed him, but I think that it really didn't do anything in my opinion. Akemir, which I just played with yesterday, I kind of agree. Speed lead is great, but it would be nice if he did a little bit more with skill 3 at the very least. And then we have Ren and Zen. One is stronger than the other. Zen is, I mean, we were playing with Zen the other day. But yeah, I mean, this is just your guys' information. Nerfs, so anything that's orange, you see there's a lot more orange here than before. Anything that's orange is just things that need a nerf. Oliver, obviously, if Oliver doesn't get touched in the next week, I would be extremely shocked. I would be extremely shocked if he doesn't get touched. Masha, I don't think they can do too much to Masha, because if you do too much, that's really going to hurt Masha. Like, I know she's strong. She's a good unit, but it's not like she's just coming away with, like, just winning the game by herself. Like, Oliver, just as soon as he pops off, he can continue to pop off and, like, just not ever stop. So, this many people have been emotionally abused by Oliver. I'm just thinking emotional damage. Masha, Dominic, Riley. Oh, Riley's so frustrating. I mean, at least make it so that it's a little bit less ridiculous. Well, destroy runes. I mean, destroy runes, but still. Veronica, I actually think that this is... I think that if we polled right now today, less people would think that Veronica needs a nerf, because people are just going to be more acclimated to fighting against her. Veronica is a very strong unit. The light battle angel, but she's not as people have just gotten better at countering her over the past, like, ever since we polled. I don't remember exact date that we polled here. Gurka, Shizuka. Personally, I think Shizuka gets a little ridiculous. If she didn't decrease the cooldowns with her skill 2, I think that would be fair. I don't think that she needs to get nerfed to the ground. I think that would be fair for her, because I mean, she can still get cooldown increased. That's the biggest way to counter Shizuka. If you just stopped her from decreasing her own cooldowns, I think that would be man, it's gonna be sad to see the Oliver nerf, but it is what it is. I do believe that we're actually going to see a new 2A unit somewhat soon. It has been a while since we've seen the last ones. The last ones was from the new dimension, correct? I don't remember exactly when that was released off the top of my head. I didn't write it down right now for this video. I apologize. But I do think that we might see one of these units. We could see something else, right? There's other things that are going to get Second Awakened aside from these, but I do think that we're going to see one of these units probably for the next 2A. One or two of these would be a big boost to player morale. I think that they should just go 2 if they can, right? They are also doing the Summoner's War Chronicles. They're prepared for the release of Summoner's War Chronicles. I feel like they should have been prepared for a long time, though, especially since it's already released in Korea. Hopefully, they don't have all their eggs in that Summoner's War Chronicles basket, and they're still going to be putting out a big nice. Maybe not a huge update, but at least some nice update for people to come back and reinstall the game and boot up their account. Boot up their account. That's what I just said. Boot up their account. Maybe we just edit that part out of me saying boot up their account. These are the likely potential candidates. Of course, there are more though. And then this we will probably not see. We will probably never see. I would like to see this. Not for me. I would like to see this for some of the players out there, especially new players that cannot get these units. Because remember, you still have to summon these, or you can try to do well in Arena and get one of these as the rewards. But of course, you have to do well in Arena, and that's not something that new players can get. It's kind of a bummer for us to be like, oh, just use, because like there's some things that are just a part of the meta. Like a shear is a part of the meta. Linda, if you're me, Linda is a part of the meta, and I refuse to believe otherwise. Shaman is a huge part of the meta though. So just like some dungeons, like especially in the Dimension Hole, Shaman is necessary. A lot of people use Shaman for Necropolis. This is just a unit that has become part of, and also a shear for Arena Offense, right? Arena Offense and many other things as well. But these are just things that are part of the meta, but you have to actually summon. I mean, you could argue that you have to summon, like Tiana's part of the meta, but you have to summon her. It would just be nice to give people access to 3 stars. Like, the Second Awakening is already in there, but some people just don't even have the units to be able to use that Second Awakening for these units. So I just think it'd be nice to put secret dungeons for these. There's other secret dungeons for the other Second Awakened units, but it'd be just nice to see these units. People get a chance. New players get a chance to actually get some of these units so they can play around with more, even if they don't have all the Nat 5s and LDs and whatever in the game. But anyway, that's it for this one. Just my thoughts. Let me know if you agree, if you disagree, what else you want to see in the new update. So I will see you as always in, hopefully we see something good, right? Hopefully. I think we will. I think it'll be at least, I think we'll be happy with it, even if it's not perfect. But hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you as always in the next one.